Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the new Kershaw Inception, which is a 2022 budget offering from Kershaw. It's actually a manual, yeah, you heard me right, manual, non-assisted flipper running on bearings from Kershaw. So I'm going to link this guy right down below. It's absolutely available if you're watching this video at the time that it was recorded. So you can check it out if you'd like to. Thank you so much to Kershaw for sending this in for me to take a look at. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me. There's a link for Patreon right down below. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Okay, let's go ahead and get a measurement on this guy. Overall length of the Kershaw Inception coming in at 7 1/4 inches. Blade length coming in at about just shy of 3 1/4 inches, and then your cutting edge is coming in at exactly 3 inches. So let's go ahead and do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2. Very similar in size to the Ontario Rat Model 2. Just a little, they're pretty much exactly the same. The Inception does have a little bit more cutting edge there. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3? I believe also exactly the same overall length. Is the Spyderco Para 3 7 1/4? I feel like it is. Of course, it looks a little different because the camera's at an angle right here, but yeah, it's also 7 1/4. Once again, though, the Inception, quite a bit more cutting edge because of the way that they do the handle on the PM2. And last but not least, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Benchmade Bug Outs. Similar size, a little bit smaller than the Bug Out. There you go. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Action on this is okay. All right, got a little bit of encouragement there, but it's all right. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see here we've got some shadow boxed scales and liners, steel liners. Overall thickness is about the same as the Para 3. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here we've got a knife that's not super tall, even including the flipper tab, right? In fact, it's not anywhere near as long as either of them. It's a little shorter than the Para 3 even. So there you go. Materials, we are looking at G10, D2, holy cow! Now, I thought, you know, I saw this and I was like, is Kershaw finally going to get rid of all that ATR 13 MOV for 2022? No, apparently not. But on this knife, it is D2, which it's like, wow, this should have been the case a long time ago. But okay, I'll take it, right? Steel, G10 and D2 steel. I said steel twice because steel in the liners. 3.17 ounces, not bad. In fact, pretty darn good ratios. Do we have skeletonization in here? No, we don't. It's curious that it doesn't weigh more, but okay. 3.14, I think is what it was trying to tell me before I picked it up. Not bad. Pretty good. All right. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. Get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools that I use on this channel. T8 probably for the pivot. Yep, that's the case. Not even going to check these. These are going to be T6 on the pocket clip, T6 on the body screws. And then we have this thing, which is a fastener and a lanyard hole. You can just use a flathead for that. You don't have to use a spanner. You can just use a flathead. So there you go. I would say not that difficult to take apart. You're going to have a few different heads, but not really that big of a deal. So, okay. Blade stock thickness. Calipers, there they are. What do we think then? 110 thousandths? That's my guess. Let's find out. Oh, probably about 105 thousandths. Plenty thin. So, yeah, okay. All right, meat and potatoes time. So this is a manual flipper budget knife. A budget knife on this channel is anything under $75. Manual flipper budget knife from Kershaw, running on bearings and utilizing D2 steel. Kind of neat, but also kind of behind. We have some cool looking shadow boxed peel ply G10 scales that offer, I would say, medium traction. Ergonomics are okay. I find that my finger is just at the tail end of that. You can see here they really want you to have a comfortable third finger and comfortable first finger. It's okay. The edges of the flipper tab are catching me a little bit. The edges of the shadow box steel liners are catching me a bit. It's not sharp. I can just feel them, right? And then, wow, woo, that pocket clip is really just like a fancy goose with its beak in the air. Excuse me, sir, honk, honk. Yeah, this is too much. That's why. Come on, here, let me show you this. It's a little less aggressive goose right here. This guy's only medium fancy, right? He drives a Nissan Altima. This guy's driving a BMW. This guy's driving a Nissan Altima, right? What am I talking about? Anyways, so this is too much. We can bring that down a little bit, and it wouldn't be so, like, that's the thing I'm feeling the most, is that beak, that bill, right in my palm. Otherwise, the clip is fine. Like, it's totally fine. But that's just like, wow, why? Crazy. Access to the liner lock is pretty good. Plenty of cutout there. No double clutch. Like I said, just a little bit of encouragement. The flipper tab is also good. You can push button it, or you can light switch it if you want to. The detent, I think, is tuned properly for the weight and mass of the blade and the tension of the all of that, everything, the tension of the lock bar. Is essentially the detent. Anyways, yeah, it feels good is what I'm trying to say here. The blade also looks really nice. We have kind of a double swedge thing here going on. We have a swedge up here at a different angle. Just gives it a little bit of character. I do like this reflective stonewash finish they've got. I think this looks nice. I would have been really bummed if they just went with another plain Jane satin finished blade, right? They didn't. They went with this, and it looks pretty good. Some jimping out to a nice spot on the blade, right? We've got a nice drop point blade, so pokey stuff, gonna be no problem, and it gets fairly thin down here at the edge, as it should, considering the flat only carries out to here, but that drop, the taper down to the cutting edge, starts at about 80% the height of the blade, so plenty of room in this case to drop, you know, considering we have a stock thickness of 105 thousandths. So yeah, the edge is done nice. It doesn't look like we have maybe just a little teeny tiny, I'm trying to get the light to reflect off the cutting bevel so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Just a bit of a, not really much of a smile, just a little more on this side. There we go. I mean, you know, this isn't their USA stuff, but it's there. What the heck? The camera's just like, I can't see it. I don't know what you're trying to show me. Here. That's what we call a smile. But anyways, you know, it's not really that, it's not like we're looking at a $200 knife here, but still, right? Nice sharpening tool there. So yeah, the blade is pretty good. Don't have much of an issue. Where's this knife made? It's made in China. That's just gonna be the case. With some of Kershaw's stuff, the less expensive stuff's gonna be made in China. Then they have some mid-range stuff that's made in the United States. And then they have a few, like some of their, probably their autos or some of their nicest USA stuff. So yeah, do with that information what you will. A little bit of a pivot collar here. The pivot itself looks kind of neat, but I also want to point out it also looks like it's kind of chewed up. What happened? Seriously, like, I mean, okay, no big deal, but it looks a bit crazy. Like they used, I don't know, what did they use to screw this into the factory? A pitchfork? This side's fine, right? The Torx, this wasn't even the side. I mean, like, this is because it's free spinning, they had to hold it in place. I don't know. I don't know why this side looks so chewed up, but it does a little bit. I don't know. Maybe if you get one, it's not going to be like that, but this one was sent to me by Kershaw directly, so just for your information. This does have a, sorry, I'm trying to get the camera to stop, the arm mount. It's actually not the camera, it's the arm mount to stop moving. we have a position, left-handed carry position for the pocket clip. This is going to be a tip-up only knife, which is fine because it's a flipper and because that's my preference. So lefties, you can carry it. I know it's a right-handed liner lock, but liner locks are probably, you know, one of the friendliest. Like if it's right-handed, it's one of the friendliest locks to manipulate. It's really not that big of a deal. And we've got a couple of standoffs. Like I said, one of them is the lanyard hole, which is fine. That's totally out of the way of the pocket clip. Pocket clip carry depth is good. There's not a slot milled into the G10 for the clip, but that's okay considering the price. It's not really that big of a deal, right? Recessed screws, like I said, the clip is fine other than this, you know, super aggressive beak. We have the adjustment head on this side and a little steel pivot collar. On the back here, you can see here's the stop pin, and there's a little bit of a area right here where it's going to shoulder around that stop pin, which is nice. There is no blade play up, down, left, or right. There's no pivot lash. I really thought there would be. And detent, here we go. All right, a little bit of a click. No detent lash. Yeah, it's good. Okay, this is pretty good. You know, it's like this is a knife that would have been kind of like, yeah, okay, that's what we expect in like 2015 or 16. But just now, Kershaw's getting away from some of the assisted budget stuff and getting away from the 8CR13 MOV, right? This is a simpler design, less sort of, you know, kind of, Kershaw likes to do the multi-piece where they have like random other materials that are just kind of screwed together as like overlays, like unnecessary overlays. Some people like that look. I'm not really into it. But they're doing, it's kind of a simpler look. This is a good tool. It functions really well. It's made well, fit and finishes pretty good outside of the smile. And truthfully, just that chewed up pivot, I have no idea I've not messed with this knife at all. But okay, maybe they're not all like that, right? The part that bugs me is the price. Now, it's still definitely well within the parameters of what I consider to be a budget knife. Oh, I didn't even show you guys centering. Sorry, that's important. Centering is, as far as I can tell, pretty much spot on. So that's good. It's well within the parameters of what I consider a budget knife on this channel. It's well under $75. But they still want $64 for it. Competition is beating you guys, Kershaw, pretty severely. I mean, like, even considering CJRB and Civivi and Kubi have all bumped their prices a little bit, QSP will do the exact same thing for about 35 bucks or 40 bucks, right? CJRB and Civivi on the lower end tend to hover between 50 and 55. Yeah, they have some newer stuff that's a bit more, but they definitely still have knives that are a little bit less. So it's not that much more. Let's say, okay, so Complex, you say it's like, you know, their competition's beating them by $9 in most areas, right? Let's play it soft. It's just $9. Yeah, you're right. You know, but as we shrink in price, it's a larger percentage of the overall cost, right? So, I don't know, sometimes I flip-flop in this stance. It's plenty good. The price isn't necessarily a roundhouse kick to the face. It's just like, what the heck? Like, your main, I mean, to me, there's a lot of like micro brands, but some of the bigger budget brands, Kubi, CJRB, QSP, and Civivi, all have limitless better options. Like, I mean, just between those four brands, we're talking 100 options. Like, seriously, there's a lot, right? So, my guess on just knowing, you know, Kershaw, my guess on this knife, like what I thought before I looked at the price, I figured it was going to be 50 to 55 bucks. It's more than that. It's still pretty good though. I'm not going to say rush out and buy this. So, it's, you know, but it is still, you know, if you like the look of this, it's still a good knife. I'm going to put this in my cheap knives I like playlist. It's a good knife. Nothing wrong with it. A little bit stuck in the past, but it's cool. I kind of like, I do like that Kershaw is, you know, at least exploring this territory. This is better. Manual knives that have tuned detents, better steel. D2, in my opinion, is just all the way around better than 8CR, unless you just really need 8CR's stainless qualities and you need the balance of everything else 8CR brings to the table, which isn't much. I think D2 is going to be better for most, you know, the commoner and the seasoned alike. So yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's okay. It's a cheap knife that I like, right? If you like how it looks, you like the idea of picking something like this up from Kershaw, then yeah, go ahead. I think you'll be happy for it. $64 is a bit high, even considering everything has gone up, but yeah, it's okay. That's what I have to say about this. Those are my honest thoughts. Thank you again to Kershaw for sending this in, letting me take a look at it. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.